I'll start today with my arrival back to New York from the Berlin airlift. I had bought a new Ford in Munich. German were having trouble finding people to buy their cars that Ford Motor Company was asking them to accept. So we helped out by buying one for less than $1,000, and we picked it up at Edgewater, New Jersey, and I drove it back cross country to San Francisco and shipped it to Hawaii, where I lived by then. And then, to my surprise, I was told I was going to have I expected to have air transportation, but I didn't know I was going to come back on a flying boat. And so they took me down to where the flying boat took off. A great big, the Mariner, I think they called it, a two-story flying boat. And we took off I think, late afternoon. And I've been driving across country, and I was pretty tired, so I slept almost all the way to Honolulu. We shipped I shipped the car to Honolulu, and so we've been there. Well, anyway, I woke up next morning, and we were approaching the Hawaiian Islands. We landed, and I didn't know how I get in touch with my wife or what had happened, but she was there waiting for me. The people that were handling the widows from the people flying the Berlin airlift, they call them the little widows, and they had been taking care of it. My wife and two children had been there since December, early December. But here I was now in Hickam, and I found out that why I was one of the first ones to be there, and I didn't realize then what was happening. But I was reading a letter that I'd written to my wife, and it said that they had picked our names out of a bag or something, and had some of the other pilots there picking them up, doing the picking out to see who leaves first, and to put the order away we would go to depart. And that's the way I got to make the trip earlier. And here we are, and now I'm back to work. Only we don't have any airplanes. They left the airplanes in Germany. So I didn't have a lot of work to do. However, they had found 3 or 4 C-54s that the Marines had, and they got them to bring them in. And so we flew the Marine C-54s till our planes got in. When the problem causing the airlift was settled with I think about June. After that, March, June, and then our particular aircraft that we were flying at our base, we all were hauling coal. Said they had to be practically taken apart and cleaned out before they would send them back to us. But we started getting aircraft in a few months, and we get our schedule back going to support the troops in the Western Pacific. So a major came in as a squadron commander, and I was selected as the operations officer. I was a little bit surprised at that, but that's when I started my office work, and in addition to flying. We understand these trips where, as I said, something like running an airline. It actually is a military airline. We go from Hawaii to, of course, the Travis Air Force Base in California. Brings everything to Hickam, and then we do all the flying west of Hickam to Tokyo. We go to Kwajalein, Guam, and either Tokyo or maybe may go directly to Manila, but normally we would go to Tokyo and then to Okinawa, just for refueling and dropping off and picking up whatever needs to be done, and then go into Manila, and we usually had a good day over there, and usually a extra day to look around Manila, and then we fly back to Guam and back to Hawaii. So that was our route, and we were doing quite well, when all of a sudden the North Koreans overran the South Korean, it was actually then designated as a United Nations Army. Had a few Americans and British and some other nations at times, but they had a retreat. The first thing they did got transportation, got the civilians and the dependents out down to Busan, down in the southeast, where they had the direction they were having to retreat to, and they got them over to Tokyo with the local flights, and we picked them up there, a plane load that had absolutely nothing. They just had to run the minute that they said they had to go. And they took them into the Tripler Hospital there and took them there. Some of them were in bad shape. It was a difficult situation to see those people, and we donated clothes and everything for them we thought that they could use. And we don't know what happened from there. I guess some of them maybe, I don't know, stayed in Hawaii, but they probably families back in the States that they went to later. But we didn't have any more contact with them. But here the war was on, and the United Nations Army was being beaten. They had a sudden surprise thing, and they retreated to this little pocket around the harbor of Busan, called it the Busan line. The idea was to hold on, just hold that much while General MacArthur could get help in. On the 10th of September, the force landed in Busan. They fought a battle there. And about went on for about till the 19th. They had won that battle and had really damaged the North Koreans' force, so that the tables were turned. And what MacArthur decided to do was to make a run for the north to the Yellow River, apparently, because he moved right along, trying to consolidate as he went along, and he arrived just real close to the Yellow River with a tired and overworked but it was a successful army. And then here comes a fresh Chinese army, well equipped, and really raised havoc. They couldn't handle them. They just retreated 38th parallel, and there the Chinese let up, and they held that. And I don't know how long and how much the Chinese was involved, but they stayed there until they got the Koreans got a little army built back up again. And then there still was fighting going on to some extent till 1953. July 53 when they signed the truce. But in this time, of course, I was right in the middle of the support. We had all of the Air Vac, and we had a good picture of what was happening with when all the casualties coming in, the wounded, and the people that were discouraged, really. But this went on. I wasn't there in the '53, but we left there in November of '51. But during that period, I had a lot of respect for those people that had made the big sacrifice. After the battle, after the victory of Incheon, it was a nice little victory there temporarily, but it was disaster after that. One day I pulled into Wake Island and to park on my way west, and there were two big aircraft in there. It turned out it was the president's airplane, and one of them, and the other was General MacArthur's airplane. And they had a meeting, and then they were just getting ready to start the engines to bark. So we just held out there till they got parked, and they taxied out of the way. And we found out that the president told General MacArthur that he was relieved from active duty. He could proceed as he chose. But that was the end of MacArthur's service to the United States Army. It wouldn't have been so bad if he hadn't made that last mistake and rushed up to close to the Yalu River and ran into this Chinese army. And that is about all I have to say, except that it was I appreciated the opportunity to serve the people. So through support in any way that it was asked, and we had to call back some people to replace those that had taken out of the lift to get to the pilot. It's a pilot. We needed to add a few aircraft, and to provide all the service we needed, but we managed to do that, and moved all the patients. Mainly, that was our main job, is to move the patients out and fly in people that were going back and forth for various reasons to Korea. And then, of course, it was not quite, by the time I left there, it was slowing down a little bit, but it was about '53. Then it became fairly peaceful. And what they did is they made a demilitarized zone 2.5 miles wide at the boundary, at the parallel, and that helped a lot to get a lot of if they keep that clear. It stopped a lot of small skirmishes.